Ready? Okay.
Words in papers, words in books, words on TV, words for books, words of comfort, words of peace, words to make the fighting cease, words to tell you what to do. Words are working hard for you. Eat your words, but don't go hungry. Words have always nearly hung me. Words of nuance, words of skill, and words of romance are a pill. Words are stupid, words are fun. Words can put you on the run. Mots pressés, mots sensés, mots qui disent la vérité. Mots maudits, mots mentis.
Thank you, Chris, for being here with us for Radio Città Fujiko.
Thank you, Angela.
And before your gig of tonight here in Bolognetti Rocks,
Yes.
I would like to ask you some questions about your band,
Sure.
Thompson Club. So you had a new record out last year,
Yes?
and if I'm not wrong, it was a 10-year period before
Yes.
the previous one, you know?
Yes.
So what did push you to put together the band again for playing and doing new material?
Well, during that period of time, which was 10 or more years when we didn't release a new record, we were busy, you know, we had children, and we didn't completely abandon music, though. We made some recordings for a channel called Nickelodeon. We also did some touring. We played in Japan, and we played some festivals in Europe. And we produced some other bands, some bands in America. So we were working. We just weren't working on Tom Tom Club. One of the reasons was our family. Another reason was nobody was really breaking down our door for a new Tom Tom Club album. But one day, a guy named Tomas Cookman, who has a Latin alternative record label in Los Angeles, said, "You know, I heard that live album that you guys cut years ago, and I'd like to release it." It never got a proper release. Okay. So he said he would release it on Nacional Records. Mm-hmm. And that sort of spurred us into doing a tour. We did a tour with the Psychedelic Furs, a tour of America, and it was a big success. And we decided, the band is sounding so good, let's go straight into the studio after the tour and make a recording, see what happens. And so we did that just by spontaneous jamming, very similar to what we did with Talking Heads when we recorded Remain in Light. Okay. The result is the Downtown Rockers EP, and it's only 6 songs, 6 new songs. We're going to record more after this tour. In fact, next week
really?
we'll be back in the studio.
So you told that the title of the record is Downtown Rockers.
Yes.
To be honest, if I think of rockers, I don't think of Tom Tom Club.
Uh-huh. Who do you think of?
Iggy Pop, for example.
Oh, Iggy Pop, sure.
Just to name one.
He's a rocker.
Yeah. Tell me why you decided to put such a title to your record.
Well, Long Downtown Rockers is a tribute to all the bands that we used to play with, and some bands that came before us, such as the Velvet Underground and the Modern Lovers and the New York Dolls. But all these groups that played in Lower Manhattan, a lot of people have written books now, but nobody had written a song about that wonderful period of time. So we thought, we'll write a song about it. And that's what we did. And the song is basically a love letter to all those bands. Today we have a lot of music going on, but very little of it has the same significance that those bands had. And so our song Downtown Rockers is a tribute to them.
If you can tell us something, one of your memories or whatever connected with the period of CBGB, the one you're talking about.
Sure.
In your song, and that you lived with the Talking Heads.
Well, I moved to New York in 1974. A friend of mine was living just off the Bowery on Bond Street. He's a painter named Jamie Dalglish. And Jamie went to the Rhode Island School of Design, which is where I met Tina and where I met David Byrne. My friend said, Chris, you better go across the street on the Bowery there. There's this bar called CBGB's, and there's something going on there. Some music, and I think you would like it. It's very interesting. You should check it out. So I went that night. I took his advice and I went to CBGB's, and there was nothing happening. Like nobody was there. But I went back the next night, and there was a band called the Ramones playing. And they were just amazing to me, totally amazing. And they would stop in the middle of a song and have an argument on stage. It was one of their first performances. They would actually argue with each other on stage about what song should be next. No, I don't want to play that song, Johnny. And so I want to play Beat on the Brat. I don't want to play I Don't Want to Go Down to the Basement.
And it's dedicated to the Ramones.
After rehearsing for some time, we managed to get an audition at CBGB's, and the owner, Hilly Crystal, said, "Oh, you guys are great. I'll put you on as the opening act for the Ramones." And so somehow Talking Heads and the Ramones were always linked together because our first tour of Europe was also supporting the Ramones. It was actually the first tour we ever did anywhere. You know, those were wonderful times at CBGB's. I really miss the place now.
But when you went for the very first time to CBGB's, the Talking Heads were still alive. I mean,
the Talking Heads had not started yet.
Yeah.
We didn't have a band name or anything. I had a group with David Byrne in college at the Rhode Island School of Design, and the name of that band was the Artistics. And we enjoyed working together, so I suggested that we start a band in New York, and David agreed, and I got a loft, and Tina and David and I lived in that loft together.
You work and live in the same place, I suppose.
Yes, yes. And we all had day jobs. We would work at our jobs during the day, and then at night we would write songs and practice our music. And it took me a long time to talk Tina into joining the band.
Why?
Well, she quite rightly, I think, she thought, "Oh, this is the idea. It's rock and roll is a man's thing," and at the time it sort of was. She was really one of the first female musicians that wasn't a singer. I eventually was able to talk Tina into joining the band, and then we were just a three-piece band for several years, for 3 years, and then we were able to talk Jerry Harrison into joining the band. And then the first time we ever came to Italy, by that time we had 8 people in the band. I remember we played here in Bologna.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and we went through a rather amazing development with Talking Heads, but now we work with Tom Tom Club, and we're very happy with Tom Tom.
How do you leave the two different sides of your music career? I mean, are for you just a same path, or you have two different
Well,
roads?
we deliberately designed Tom Tom Club to be different from Talking Heads because we didn't want to be in competition with our own band.
Of course.
So it's a different type of thing. Talking Heads was very dystopian, and Tom Tom Club is very utopian. And so we have a different outlook with Tom Tom Club. And we have a new project that Tina and I are going to be working on in this coming fall, an electronic thing with just the two of us.
Only the two of us.
Yes, it's called Chris und Tina. It's a German style.
With electronics is very good, of course.
Yeah.
You know, young people like to know things about old times, but I like too, even if I'm not so young anymore, to know something about the period, the crazy times of Compass Point All Stars.
Now that was a good time. Chris Blackwell of Island Records built a studio in the Bahamas, and the little area where he built it is outside of Nassau, and it's right on the beach. It's called Compass Point, and unfortunately it doesn't exist anymore. But Talking Heads was the first band to record there.
The first one?
Yes. Chris Blackwell said, come down to Compass Point and make a record, and I'll give you a really good price since you're the first band. Any bugs or whatever, we'll take it off the price. So we made the album More Songs About Buildings and Food down there with Brian Eno producing. And then Tina and I bought an apartment down there. We liked it there, and we were spending a lot of time there, so we got an apartment there, and we were living there. And Wally Badarou was there, the great keyboard player. Grace Jones was living there. Sly and Robbie were living there. Tyrone Downey from the Wailers. Barry White, who played also with the Compass Point All-Stars. And it was a beautiful place to work because there were very few distractions.
It must be really good vibrations. I mean.
Yes, very good vibrations.
I close my eyes on Sunday. That's what I say.
And even the name Tom Tom Club comes from something.
Well,
there.
Yes. Well, there was a club on the beach. You know, in the Bahamas, people don't have street numbers. Every building has a name. There was a place called Peanuts Taylor's Drumbeat Club, which was a nightclub, and we thought, well, we got to call our place something. What do we call it? And we thought, oh, we'll call it the Tom Tom Club. And then when we made the record, we thought, what are we going to call this record? We thought, oh, we'll call it the Tom Tom Club. And it stuck.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Angela.
I look forward to see you on stage in an hour or so.
Yes.
And really, thank you very much.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you, gentlemen.